Episode of the Be Awesome at Facility Management podcast. I am one of your hosts, Joshua Peach. We've got our other host, Mr. Paul Anastasi. Paul, how are you doing tonight? Late, live, last minute podcast episode.
Doing well here. Back at the homestead in Watertown again.
How's the weather up there?
It was springtime today, 40 degrees and sunny.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm down here in Dallas. This is a special treat. We put this together. We talked about maybe, hopefully, getting this to happen. We wanted to make sure that it was a definite do before we put it out, and it was a definite do this morning. And so here we are. We are here with the man, the myth, the legend, the guy that we said doesn't have an off switch. He's always on, Mr. Greg Lookabaugh. So, Greg, first and foremost, welcome aboard back again.
Well, it's great to be here, Josh. Great to see you, Paul, and be with all of you. So we're looking forward to the.
Good to see you again, Greg.
So Greg and I were taking a walk down memory lane and realized, I'm going to move my stuff here a little bit. We realized that the last time we were together in person, where we didn't have to worry about masks or vaccines or COVID, or we could hug and handshake and high five without a red, yellow, or green bracelet on to talk about our comfort level. Greg and I were together and we did a podcast talking about COVID, not realizing what we were in for. It was a month before everything shut down. And we were talking about, cleaning for health, not just appearance, and a lot of the things that you learn. So this is kind of neat how this all the way all things come together with us is it's just kind of wild, because I didn't even think about that until this morning. I was talking to him. I'm like, man, the last time we talked about this stuff, it was a podcast. It was in Texas. It was just before COVID, and here we are again. So
see how far we've come when we thought we could just clean it away? We thought cleaning was the answer, disinfecting, spraying the world.
Yeah, push it right along.
Yeah.
And that's what we talked about. And we'll touch on that. We'll talk about, the cleaning for health and not just appearance. But let's step back. Let's talk about where it all began. The young Greg Lookabaugh got the world is his oyster, and you choose to get into facility management. So talk about your history coming up into the industry, and then I'd love to hear where your passion came from for it, because not just stories but experiences. And I'll do this and I'll get off my soapbox. So Greg and I are at the Texas Association of School Business Officials right now. There are thousands and thousands of people. It doesn't end. The conference didn't end until 4:30 Central Standard Time, so it's 5:11 right now. And I'm walking over to Greg's booth, and Greg is he is the director of business development for this company. He's paid his dues. He's been around for a long time. He's got a young guy on his team, Levi, and the CEO of the company, Paul. And I'm over there, and these guys are all hands on deck. And you look around at some other companies, and the young Levi's are the ones that are doing all the work, and the heavy hitters are just sitting there kibitzing and talking. But Greg jumps into the trenches, and he does that every day, which is one of the most amazing things that I see about him. He doesn't walk past a piece of trash expecting somebody else to pick it up if he's capable of doing that. So I'm off my soapbox. You tell us your story, Greg, because I love to hear it.
Well, thanks, Josh. Just a little bit about kind of where I started out as a dairy farmer. And when you're a dairy farmer, there's one thing you really learn. It's called WORK. You know how to make it happen. You understand that no matter how bad you feel, what day it is, or who dies, those cows get milked twice a day. And so I learned that. And I learned that it took work to make things happen. After that, I went into the Navy. And in United States Navy, I was stationed out in San Diego, and it was a very great journey for me. It taught me a lot of things about discipline. Although I wasn't an undisciplined person, it just taught me discipline, and it taught me to begin to understand that I must do what I say I'm going to do. And it taught me that taking that experience from the farm and then turning it into service. And I think that's where Josh and Paul, I really began to understand serving. What does that mean? It doesn't mean just dominating. It means serving. And so I began to approach everything. 99% of the things I do now is about serving other people. I have a philosophy, guys, that I think that I want to help people be better tomorrow than they are today. And sometimes and many times you can't do it by just sitting back watching. And so in the military, I was big on hands-on. I mean, if we had to get in the bilges, I was in the bilges, and I worked my way all up to the highest ship I could. Work center supervisor. I was one of the few second-class petty officers that ever achieved that on the Spruance class destroyer. And so I was very excited. Earned the Navy Achievement Medal. And one thing the admiral told me was he recognized. He said, "I heard you talking to my grandson, and you talked to him about serving people." Well, I had no idea that the admiral heard me say that, but it's a philosophy that I've lived by. I believe that, I think you come to a point in life, ladies and gentlemen, where everyone, you say, well, what's life about? Well, being born, paying taxes. And I kind of say life is about being born and finding out why you were born. And I think that's just very, very important. And so I have a servant leadership's heart, and I lead through serving. And so through the years, that's kind of how I've always approached what I do. No matter what position I've acquired, and I've got as high as I could go, I feel like in the educational enterprise, but I always still serve people because, just talking about the things I've done in facility management and what made me really love it. Well, I'm a fix-it guy. I like to fix things, and I like people. I love people. I love people, and I love to help them. Sometimes people say, "Why are you doing that?" Well, why not help with that? And so throughout my career, it's been about servant leadership, and I think that's so important. There's a lot of leadership styles. Mm-hmm. There's dominant leader. Now, if I have to be dominant about something, I can actually, do that. But I found that people care. If you care about people, they care, and people want to be appreciated. People want to know that you really value the time and effort. And the other thing that I learned, Paul, is that these people that we work with, even as you, Paul and Josh, as you grew in leadership, they're men and women just like us. They're trying to raise a family. They're trying to make their way. They're trying to discover why they were born, who they are. And what's really nice is like today, I'm in the conference and I'm not even in any classes today. And people started coming to me saying that people in the workshop was saying how, well, Greg was the one that told me to do this and how I got started. And Greg was, and I don't take that as boasting. That's an honor. Yep. You don't, it's not about boast. There's no boasting. It's just that I was humbled by that. And here we are 27 years later, and people are still saying those things of how, just served to help them. And so I guess, guys, in a nutshell, it's about serving people. I just a quick story. Several weeks ago, we do a lot of custodial services now. I've done mechanical, electrical, all that, but custodial services is such labor intensive. It requires individual change when you're trying to do something. But I was in a school and I believe in servant leadership. So I might sit down and we'll have a workshop on how to do something. But when I show up, I'm going to do it with you. I might have a great idea, guys, that I think is the best idea there is. But unless I go out and actually do it, prove it, and fix what doesn't work to get it to work, that makes successful. That to me, that's success. But to my story, and just to tell you how I'm 65 years old now, and the other day I was working in a school, and I'm trying to show people the value of equipment and training, and why it's so important for a standardized program. And so I go ahead of the persons that I'm working with, and I walk into this bathroom, and it might be a little gross, but it's what we deal with every day. And it looked like someone had put their pants down and pooped all over the bathroom. Now you can imagine what my first thought was. Probably not yours, but mine. I kind of looked at my clock on my phone and thought, I could go home now. This might be a good time to go home, But then I realized that this is a great time to serve someone and show them how to deal with these bloodborne pathogens, show them how to do this intelligently, show them how to use the equipment, show them. And so I didn't go after the person who was doing the cleaning, I got the supervisor. Because if I can't teach the supervisors and the leaders to lead, then it's going to be hard to do anything. So I brought the supervisors in and we cleaned that bathroom. My point was, if that's what I have to do in order to help you, that's what I'm going to do. So that's a little bit about what I've done in my career. I mean, I've had great opportunities as a facility leader and working with people. I think the industry's, Josh, I think we're in for there's a lot of change, and change is a disruptor.
Yep.
Anytime, I'm a pro-sci change practitioner, and it's a really cool opportunity because it makes you think about change. It makes you think about what it is that you're about to do. It helps you plan the end before you ever start. Because if you don't know where you're going, you don't know if you've ever gotten there or not. And so I think it's so important to do that. And so as we help people go through this disruption called change, like COVID was a change. Mm-hmm. It disrupted our world.
Disrupted everything.
It disrupted everything. However, those of us like you guys and those who may be listening, we take that disruption as an opportunity to make a difference. Mm-hmm. This is an opportunity to revolutionize our whole maintenance custodial enterprise, our world. You see, I always believe, Josh, that everyone tends to return back to the way they've always done things. It's kind of biblical. The Bible says a dog returns to his vomit. Mm-hmm. We tend to go back. We want to, okay. And I think, Paul, you had mentioned we sprayed everything. We're doing all these things, right? Well, then now what do we do? And so I call it reset the fallback. I think it's so important that, if we tend to go back to the way we've always done things, but if I can help you do it differently, better, and more efficient, and move you forward, when you fall back to a new reset. Mm-hmm. You don't fall back as far as we used to. And so I'm real big on helping and getting people to realize that now's the time to move the needle. Now's the time to make the change. The disruption was a disruption for all of us, but there's a number of us that I believe takes that disruption and now we're going to turn it into something really good.
Yeah, and I was amazed. I was working in a community, small community west of Boston when it hit big, and I was amazed that our guys still came to work. We started the cleaning everything, but they accepted the change and the new things that had to be done. I gave them a directive to clean the gym storage in the high school gym one day. And that's where the office was that I was in. So I go down and check on them after a few hours. And I says, everything has to be cleaned. Basketballs, soccer balls, volleyballs, all of it. Well, they had set up a line of barrels, trash barrels on wheels with cleaner first, a barrel of disinfectant, a barrel of clear water, and then they had a line of towels. And the last guy rolled the ball down the line of towels to the guy at the end who dried the ball off to finish it off and put it back in the bin. And I said, wow, look at that. They set up a disinfecting station for gym balls. Who would have thought? No one would have thought we would have ever had to do that. And these guys, I said, it's got to be cleaned. And they did it. They went and they did it. And when, so many people learn to work from home, you can't clean from home. Mm-hmm. Our guys were still coming to work. And for a large population of custodians that seem to get tagged with not being tech savvy, I had Zoom meetings with them from building to building.
Yes.
They found a computer, they got on and they did it. I think our industry really stepped up. No, let's face it, no one signed up for this. We know that. We know that. Nobody signed up for this. But to see them come to the forefront, I think it was really amazing. It was a feel-good story for sure.
See if you have those guys figure out a way to clean the bowling shoes, the communal bowling shoes, because we know that's a scam. We know that's not right.
That little that's it.
Oh yeah. Well, to touch on one thing, you talked about COVID and we weren't ready for it and change. And this goes back to the Keith Gourlay episode we did last week about how Keith said, I think COVID actually helped us in a lot of ways. They had a seminar this morning, 268 people registered, 262 came, 98% to a webinar. I have never seen those types of numbers. So it's, the proof is in the pudding. We can talk about it. And that's one of the things that I really like about everything you just said. I've seen you do. I've seen you step up. I've seen you step in. I've seen you do the servant leadership. I've seen you do other types of leadership through the years. But you've got that unique. A lot of people say things like we go on social media and you look at these threads, and Paul looks at it's now 54 connections, stories, and things. And
I got to 56 today. 56.
Slow down. You got to be the most social. You got to be the most antisocial social person I know, man. Slow your roll.
Jamie Waters, number 56.
Those people that are signing up to be friends with Paul, be careful. Be careful. Can't let this thing grow too much too quick. But all these people put all these, what they do and their sayings and all stuff, and they don't do it. And you do, and that shows. That shows in a big way when you're picking up the poop, man. And you're getting the supervisors out there. And I think that what that does. I know that's what it does. It's proven. When you go and do it that one time or that two times, then your entire team now knows, hey, if he's willing to do it. And in my mindset, when I used to lead sales organizations, I would tell people, hey, look, I'm never going to ask you to do something I'm not willing to do myself. But if I have to do it too much, probably don't need you. And that was, and my teams would always say, anybody that's ever worked with me, they see the stuff that I was willing to do and the distance I was willing to go. So it set that mark of, would Peach be willing to do this? Would Peach do this? I'd never put somebody in a position to do something if I wasn't willing to do it again. That's that example you give.
And when you talk about serving, the community I retired from, actually, the superintendent had a sign on his desk and he said, "We're here to serve, not be served."
Mm-hmm.
That's real good.
That was his motto.
Yeah, Paul, I think you talked about it's the concept of what your people, what they did, how innovative they were to do what you asked them to do. And I like how you said they first cleaned the balls.
Yep.
So many people thought you spray the ball with a disinfectant. Well, you clean the ball. And first of all, the definition of clean is removing unwanted matter. That's the definition.
Yep.
A lot of times I'll ask people, what's the definition of clean? Well, it depends on no, Google it. Removing unwanted matter. So your people determined what it was they wanted to get rid of, and they realized that cleaning is the process in which you do it. And they knew what they wanted to get rid of and get off of those balls, and they developed the process to do that. And in the end, they accomplished.
Yeah, you have to clean before you can disinfect. Right?
Yeah,
it's amazing when you see it and you say, wow, all that training that we've been doing, all those seminars that we put on for them, and they're hearing it. They're hearing it. It's one thing to send them off in their buildings at night to clean, but to see it in that context was so rewarding to know that we're doing these trainings and they're absorbing it and they're getting out there and do it the right way. The commercials of, those companies that say cleans and disinfects. Well, yeah, but not in the same time.
Yes.
You got to clean and then disinfect.
Well, yeah, and that brings me to a point, and to touch on it which is huge right now. There's articles going out, and those same companies are saying cleans and disinfects. They're now trying to educate the consumer, even the residential consumer. There's this thing called dwell time.
Right.
That's not even properly trained to your staff a lot of the times, where the manufacturer. We had JP Mayo, who is an amazing professional development. I think you've met JP when you've gone to New Hampshire a couple times. He's been in the business his whole life. That type of person will make sure that you understand dwell time, how long something needs to sit. It could be a very similar product, but something might need to sit for a minute, something might need to sit for 3 minutes, something might need to sit for 30 seconds. And that's where you get the health result opposed to the appearance result, right? So we could spray anything on a countertop, wipe it down, it's going to be shiny, right? But if we let it sit, that's when that and correct me if I'm wrong, but that dwell time is what does the work to actually make it a healthy surface, not just a good looking surface, right?
Well, yeah, you can clean with dirty water.
Yeah.
You can make anything look clean with dirty water. The purpose and one of the things that and I hope I can just talk a little bit, just intelligently cleaning for health. We want our people to understand the what Josh just said, dwell time. What is it? However, dwell time also has other things added to it. Did you mix your chemicals properly? Are you using the right chemical for the right job? Are you rinsing your bottles before you put more product in them? More is not better in products. You have to use what it says on the bottle. If it says 1 ounce per gallon, you put 1.5 ounces per gallon, you've done nothing but dilute the ability of that product to do what it says. I mean, it's going to kill a microscopic organism if you apply it correctly and you give it the proper time. You mixed it correctly, you apply it correctly, and you give it time to do what the manufacturer says it will do. There are dwell times 1, 3, 10, 10 minutes. And so that all comes into play to accomplish the mission of cleaning and disinfecting surfaces. And so there's a lot that goes into that. But when you're training your people and teaching them, and you go in and you make a misstep like I have before, and they look at you and say, Greg, you didn't let it sit on that long enough. Of course, I always ask, well, why? What do you mean? I know but I'm reinforcing. I messed up. Now tell me why. Mm-hmm. Well, look on the label right here. It says that you have to apply this product. You have to give it 10 minutes in order it to kill all these things at this product. Now your people are learning. Now they're engaging. And so you are correct. There's so many things out there now. New chemicals coming online. A lot of claims that chemicals do this and do that. A lot of mixing systems and things like that. But I think we have to get back to the basics of teaching our people what clean is and what cleaning is, what disinfecting, what's sanitizing, and what products are used for what. I think that's so important.
And it's the safety safety of the staff that are using it. They need to know what they need for PPEs and the safety of the students that are going to be leaning on those tables, and what can be left behind on their bare skin.
Mixing the wrong chemicals too. I wasn't there a chemical fire at a school in the last year or so. They mixed the couple of chemicals that they weren't supposed to mix, and one of them was a cleaning product. I can't remember.
Yeah. Well, there was I think Massachusetts. There was that restaurant manager.
Oh, that was a restaurant.
Yeah, yep. He died, and what happened, there. But you are right, Paul, about the PPE. But if I I'll ask you guys, how many sections are there in an SDS sheet?
Too many.
There's 16. And so what you do is in training, you want to be able to teach your people. Now, all 16, Paul, as you know, may not be as important, but they are important. But there are parts of those 16 sections, from how to handle it, PPE, how to store it, how to dispose of it, all those. There are really, what do you do if you get this chemical on you and something starts happening? Where do you go? How? And so we're big on the real proper SDS program, so that when they go to that book and they open it up, there's the call numbers, there's the things they need right there in the front of that SDS program. And so to your point, Paul, it's important to protect our employees, and it's important to protect our customers. And so I'm big on my employees first. And if I'm protecting my employees, then my customers will be just fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the biggest thing I found when we started going to dilution systems, I don't know how many years back, that the staff was all geared up for the glug system. If one is good, 4 is better.
Yes, sir.
So I found that I found them cutting off the tops of the dilution bottles, dismantling the little, straw that goes inside so they could pour it directly in, thinking that they were doing something good. So that took some training and the safety thing too. If you open a bottle of disinfectant that's in a concentrate form, and you cut that top off and you spill it down your arms, or it's soaks into your shirt, it's going to burn after a while. You're going to see your skin change.
You can go right to that SDS sheet and it'll tell you what's going to happen to you.
Yeah, that's the learning process that they had at the beginning, that they were having a tough time because they were always taught to pour it in a bucket.
Yes.
And pour a little more.
Curious question. I don't know the answer to this. And Paul, you and I have talked about this over the course of the last 20 years. And I don't think I've ever asked if it's become standardized, but on SDS sheets, are they digitized now where people are using the link opposed to the hard copy? I mean, you used to have all your MSDS sheets, SDS sheets and a 3-ring binder, right? But things change. And if you have the link that goes to the sheet.
You can buy apps or sign up with companies that will put your MSDS sheets.
Are most of them embracing that? Because it has been an antiquated system where it's 3-ring binder and paper. And granted, a lot doesn't change, but things do change, and you want to stay up to date.
And some companies, we're even taking the important information and putting it on the label that wraps around the bottle. So the real, you don't need like all 16 pages or all 16 sections. So the important stuff we put right on the bottle, and then you can have it in a digital form, and you dial in, or you have it on your app and you just call it up.
Yeah, that is correct. Under the Intelligent Cleaning for Health program, though, we still maintain the yellow SDS book with SDS on it. Remember, it's not MSDS anymore.
Right.
It's SDS. So because in an emergency, what if they're in internet's not up? What if they still need to go to that hard copy and be able to grab that book and open it up and know who to call in case of something really bad? Now, now we're big on reducing all the chemicals too. Paul, you need a general purpose cleaner, a disinfecting solution of some type, glass cleaner, and maybe something more quaternary. Okay, so when you're intelligently cleaning for health, you're not putting a whole bunch of, you got Ajax, you have bleach, you've got that. No, it's very specific because you don't need all that. A quaternary is a quaternary. How do you use it? What makes it work? Glass cleaner, how do you use it? And glass cleaners, as you know, different products are different, but they still clean the glass. And so we're big on the general purpose cleaner, and we're big on that. And we don't like to use acid cleaner.
No, not anymore.
Yeah, we're more of that deep cleaning of the urinals and commodes. One day a week, general cleaning all the time, but one day a week you use a different product so you can do your brass work. You can clean your fixtures, you can get everything, but that's on a detail type operation. So
the products I have people use are numbered, and then and they're all different colors, so the numbers are color coded. And then the company also puts out, depending on which products of theirs you pick, like you say, you narrow it down to the 4 or 5 that you're going to use. But they'll put out a cartoon with the number of the product and the picture of the custodian. Some things go in a bucket, some things go in a spray bottle. And so there's a little cartoon with the picture of the custodian using it the right way, and that's in each custodial closet above the dilution station.
Yeah, that's excellent. That is, it's a visual. People learn many different ways, right? Not just one way. That's why I like to tell you how to do it, show you how to do it, work with you to do it. So, but one thing that's also real important, and I know you know about this, Paul, is we're big on teaching our people the responsibility of their tool truck. Now, what's the tool truck? That's the cart that they push to do their job, right? So we're real big on color coding, as you are. We're big on job carding, so everyone knows what they're doing. We're big on mapping, so they know where their particular detail area is for that night. we're big on building absenteeism programs, which you have to do because, but with all that, I think as we are moving forward in our new custodial arena is we're in, I don't know if you see it where you are, Paul, but we're a different age group of people are coming into our marketplace and working for us, and they think different.
Oh yeah.
They work different. And so that's why it's really kind of important, as you talked about, building processes and procedures. Because when we were talking about leadership earlier, I've learned that I don't want to manage people. There's too much baggage. I want to lead people, and I want to manage the process in which I lead them by.
Right.
And I'm big on standardizing. So if I'm cleaning restrooms in the middle school, high school, elementary, administration, no matter what school you go to, we're using the proper truck with the proper tools, proper color coding, and it's done top down clockwise, same way everywhere. And in restroom cleaning, Paul, we're real big on double-sided mop buckets. And I hope this is where you want to go. This is
we just kind of we Paul and I just show up here, we hot mic it, and we just let the guests go wherever they want to go, and we follow along. And
it works for us.
I got a page of notes, so I could ask you about 3 hours worth of questions, but we only got 20 more minutes.
Okay,
so.
well, just real
whatever you want.
Just real quick.
Yep.
We're real big on double-sided mop buckets, and
yep.
And here's why. How many times can you dip your mop in the water that has the quaternary or disinfectant in it before you've saturated it with all the germs it can eat?
Yeah.
And so we're real big on that technology of double-sided mop buckets, and we like to do the boys' bathroom first, then the girls, and because boys have different opportunities to miss the urinals and things than the girls, and so we're real big on some of those things that are important because I think the restrooms, and maybe you agree, Josh and Paul, but I think that's your probably most dangerous place in a school, especially with hundreds or sometimes thousands of kids that are going to that restroom and going to the bathroom, and so a lot happens in that area that we have to really keep clean.
Restrooms and then cafeteria, kitchen. I think that's two big things: cafeteria, kitchen, and restrooms.
Yes,
that's huge.
And now we're dealing down here, in several of our states where we're working, we're dealing a lot with the labor shortage.
Yeah.
And so I was at a school the other night. It was a 5A. It was a big high school, 500,000 square foot facility. One person was all they had. One person.
Whoa.
And so
let's step back before we go any further. 500,000 square feet for one person. The APA standards and the custodial standards is like 20. Was somewhere between. I think the variable was like 26 to 40,000 square feet a day is what the expectation or idea was, based on the type of space they could take care of, right?
And it depends on which level
of clean you want, yeah.
So you had a space that's 10x that size with one person. That's impossible.
Yeah,
I had a high school, 410,000 square feet, Josh, with 15 guys in it, 3 shifts. Wow. So that just gives you an idea, and that's less square footage than what Greg's talking about there.
So so I'm glad you brought up, and Paul, I kind of want your input as well, because I think in the new world that we're moving into in custodial services, maintenance services, all those, I helped put together the 5 levels of clean. You did too. We all had a hand in that, right? Well, as you learn and grow, it doesn't mean that the way we did things in the past were wrong. It just means that maybe now as we move forward, they got us to where we are, but they won't get us to where we need to go. And so I think about those 5 levels of clean. And my question is, when's the last time we've sat down and read every one of those levels and what they mean. And I started doing that on the 5 levels of clean, and I realized we had a major delta in there, 2 deltas. And you say, what are they? Well, first of all, I think we have a major delta. That's the differential of something, the delta. And so, first of all, 8-hour shift. Everything's based on an 8-hour shift, right? Actually, in our custodial world, it takes a day and a quarter to get an 8-hour shift. It takes a day and a quarter. So you got a delta there of a quarter of a day or possibly a half a day before you really get 8 hours of labor. So I started analyzing that delta. And then I realized that between level 1 and 2, and don't hold me to the number exactly because I don't have the book in front of me, but between the different levels, sometimes 8,000 square foot of delta there of unanswered, unanswered whatever, you know. Well, 8,000 square feet, I know in Texas could be 8 or 10, 800 square foot per classroom. Divide it. You're not talking about, you got a big delta variance there in our numbers on the 5 levels of clean. And so I've become very integrated in workloading our campuses under the ISSA standards. And so Paul and I were big in workloading campuses before we moved too far forward. It helps us in the workload analysis. It helps us to understand the difference in the gross square footage and cleanable square footages and what are we cleaning, because there's a major difference if you're cleaning maybe a VCT flooring and you transition to a carpet and then you transition to a ceramic tile. And then, so we want to know all that information. So as we build the program for cleaning that school intelligently for health, we've done a workload analysis and we know based on ISSA standards. You know, like Paul, when you have people wipe down every desk in a classroom, there could be 25 desktops in there?
Yep.
It takes X amount of time to wipe down each desktop.
Yep.
Well, by the time you get to 20 classrooms, if you're zone cleaning, 25 desks times 25, that's a lot of desks. You might already took 6 hours of your day just to wipe down.
Just the desktop, right?
Just the desktops.
Yep.
And so as we're revolutionizing the custodial industry, we're beginning to take these things that we've done in the past and see how we can amplify them, make them better, build on them. Some of them we don't use anymore. They're not what we need to do in the future. Products are changing, buildings are changing, systems that we clean are changing, tools are changing that we use. I mean, I'm a big Kivak guy, especially after cleaning up poop in the bathrooms.
Yeah, absolutely.
That Kivak's touchless system, right?
Yep.
But you don't just teach people to know what it is. You teach them how to use it, where to use it, how to clean it up, how to put it back, sign it in, sign it out, so that it's ready for the next. So we're in this revolutionary, and revolutions bring disruptions. Change brings disruption.
Yep. And
so we work on our change management process. It's called ADCAR. You know, it's an ADCAR process, and it has awareness. Why do we need to change? Well, people ask that question. Well, why are we changing this? We've done it this way always.
I've always done it this way.
I've always done it this way. Well, you have to create awareness of why the change is necessary.
Right. And today, with today's workforce, they want that explanation.
They want that explanation. Exactly.
They ask
Paul.
why. Yep.
Tell me, why is the thing of everything. Look, why, how, and what, right? Most people, they know what and they know how. Hey, here's what we sell. This is we sell this product. It'll clean everything you need. Here's how it works. You want to buy some?
Yeah.
That's how we sell.
Yeah.
That's how. But what if we did why? Most people know what they do. Few people know how. I mean, a little less know how. but hardly anybody knows why do I do what I'm doing.
Yep.
And I think it's so important. So in AdCar, we talk about the awareness, as you said, and then we create the desire, and then we bring the knowledge of what needs to happen, and then we also plan for the resistance.
And there'll be resistance. Yep.
Yes,
that's huge.
Anytime there's disruption, there's always resistance.
Yep.
And so we plan those things out prior to even starting in what we're doing in the revolutionizing the cleaning industry. But Paul, people like you and Josh and some of the great leaders that we have out there who are joining us today, we need to now's the time to move the needle.
Yeah.
And now's the time to reset the fallback, so we don't fall back to the way we've always done things. We fall back to a new and better way.
Yep.
Now's the time to learn to do this. We're really in the do more with less.
Yeah.
But defining what it is, first of all, why do we do it? Why do we, I bet no one is born and grows up and says, I'm going to be a custodian or a janitor. I'm going to clean toilets for a living. That's what I'm going to do. A lot of people don't grow up that way, but you know what? If you are one that does that, then you've got a wonderful job and you have a wonderful opportunity, and just be good at it.
Yep.
Be really good at it, because you are protecting not only yourself, but you're a protector, and you're protecting a lot of people, and be proud of it. We have to get our custodial people to be proud of what they do. And here's why you should be proud of it. Here's how you should do it. And here's what we're going to do to make things better. And do it well. Whatever it is you find yourself doing, do it well. They often say practice makes perfect, right, Paul?
Yep.
I always say just be careful what you're practicing.
Yeah. Practice the right way, right? You might make it perfectly wrong every time.
Yeah, you might make it perfectly wrong every time.
And not to turn this into a Kivak commercial, but the day that I was sold on Kivak was when MFAA did a tour at Fenway Park, and I saw that they were using the Kivak machine to clean the dugouts.
Yes, sir.
If anyone's ever seen a Major League Baseball dugout after a game, it is something to be cleaned. And they were using the Kivak machine in there, and I said, I need one of those. I need 6 of those.
Yes, sir.
We might need to make that our first podcast sponsor.
Yeah, there you go, Kivak.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's a great piece of equipment.
Yes.
I mean, get the butt out of the way. And adding to what you said, you don't just purchase the Kivak. You have to train and teach people.
But I just want to show a picture here for a minute. That's my 5-year-old grandson.
Yes.
Yeah. For a while, he thought he wanted to be a custodian. The custodian in his preschool got him a uniform.
Oh, that's
He
awesome.
couldn't wait to go home and wash the floors, just like he had his vacuum.
Oh, that's great.
Awesome.
Just like the custodians. Now he wants to be a hockey player, so he's off the custodian thing.
Yeah.
But you never know. He's got a fallback career.
Yeah, that's right. He'll always be able to feed his family.
It's funny that in this new world of cleaning, I've even had to revolutionize the way I clean my house. I color code my house. I keep my chemicals separate. I clean everything different now. And you come to my house, I have microfiber technology. I have, vacuums. I clean my tools after I'm done every day. When I do clean, when my wife tells me it's time to clean house, I do those things because clean tools, clean school. Dirty tools, dirty school. It's just the way.
Mm-hmm.
If you walk into a custodial closet and it's not organized and it's not clean, what happens is people adapt to that and they think about that. You walk into a custodial closet that's organized and well maintained, and people are trained, and you have examples all around, and people, we're big on the training. The training room is the heartbeat of every district, we think.
Yeah.
Train. Frequency of training. Repetition is the mother of all learning. And so, but anyway,
Josh, did you have questions?
yeah. Did you have
I
a question?
got pages. I got to be honest with you. I mean, this
We're
is
kind of
this,
running away with it, so I
no,
you had something.
this is, but that's what it's about. You know, we don't want to have a script. We don't want to have anything. We want to be able to do this because I think, I mean, I got 2 pages of nuggets of knowledge of things that I didn't know or that I asked myself about. And I definitely didn't know there were 16 sections to the SDS sheets. And I made the mistake, even though I knew that they're not MSDS sheets anymore. But I even said it just out of repetition through life. No, I think we covered a whole bunch of bases. I'll tell you let a little cat out of the bag. If you haven't been impressed with Greg Lookabaugh's knowledge and experience by now, you should be. But he has voluntarily decided to chair the revision of the facilities planning guide for schools. The original version was 2002. Paul, you've committed to part of the 174 pages, so don't think you're getting off just because he's taking a piece of it. But there's a collection of people that are going to be going with Greg over the course of the next 9-10 months and taking that holy Bible of maintenance for schools, the facility planning guide from 2002, and revising it and updating it, because a lot of what Greg and what you say, Paul, stuff changes. And if our guides don't change with us, or if our guides aren't making the change, how can we expect our people to make the change? So, and what was amazing from timing perspective, when I'm grabbing Greg to come over to do this podcast, who calls me but Roger Young, who is the other creator of this. So
One of the originals,
how do you call? And
yeah,
Roger's still around, keeping us in line with making sure that we're doing the right things for schools. Greg, this has been great. We didn't even touch on the Facility Masters Conference, Facility Masters Award, a lot of the programs that you've done and the certifications. I got good news, I got bad news. The bad news is we got to cut this short because you've got to get back to the conference and to the event. The good news is, whether you want to or not, Paul and I are having you back again. So we're gonna have you back. You give a lot to people and you share a lot to people without the expectation of them buying anything. So, I'm sure there's some folks that are going to want to reach out, maybe ask a question or two. So how's the best way for people to get a hold of you?
I think just email me at greg.lookabaugh. That's LOOKABAUGH at kingsclean.com. All one word, kingsclean.com.
Okay. Put that in the show notes. This has been great. If you guys knew what we had to do to get over here to do this recording, I don't have the chat up for the live streams in the different channels for some reason. So if anybody's posted a comment or a question, I will get the answers to you tonight, because we'll pull through all the feeds. But I only have one screen here and working on this whole mobile technology. This is my first out of office podcast that I'm doing. So a little bit of work, but appreciate you making the time here, my friend. It's having people like you in my corner over the course of my career have made my job so much more rewarding, and just magnificent. And it gives me the appreciation for realizing that I'm a small part in the day's work that you guys do. So we'll have him back, right, Paul? I mean,
absolutely.
He doesn't really have a choice. I never give him a choice.
There's so much more. You could just see there's so much more to come out.
I don't ask Greg anymore. I say, Greg, I need you on my podcast, and he says, all right, well, let's get on this thing. And we've been going. I got here. I got up at 2 a.m. yesterday, flew down to Dallas, worked all day, went into the night. Now I'm back at it. We were back at it again this morning with the webinar at 8-9 o'clock this morning, and still going with this conference. It's wrapping up tonight. So gas tanks running empty. But anything you got, Paul, you want to close out with? Otherwise,
one of the things, my big takeaway here is we know people for so long, and we always learn something new. I never knew Greg was in the Navy. I worked for the Navy for 10 years in the engineering office in Boston when I was coming out of college. And we've been together, I don't know for how many years, and talked about everything under the sun, and I never knew you were in the Navy. We'll have to catch up. Maybe New Hampshire, if you're coming to New Hampshire.
He's coming up to New Hampshire.
Good.
He wasn't asked to do that. He was told to do it. Actually, he offered to do it. They talked to him, and he just said, I'll come up there. So he's coming up. But it was 2007 was the first time that he came up. So we're closing in on a good 15 years with him. And yeah, I think I knew that first time Greg and I met. We were getting our shoe shine
That's right.
at Pearson Airport and in Toronto, and he had Texas boots on, also known as cowboy boots. And I had a pair of fancy shoes at the time that needed shoe shining. So this was great. I really appreciate it, Greg. This is great. We're going to have you back. And before we go, in pure fashion of recognizing excellence in education and facility management, this is a unique one. This is actually one that I had. I don't even know how this all came about. I kind of do. I did a keynote for a group of colleges in Florida in early 2019, probably March of 2019. And when I got done, this facility director came up to me of a college and said, "Our school needs you. We need you to come out and we need you to talk to our staff. We're really down, and we've been through the ringer." And I just said, "Yeah, you know what? Let's figure it out. Let's put the date together." And sure enough, they reached out and they said, "Can you do the reopening of our campus?" It's August, whatever it was, 2019. Still hadn't looked at why this campus might be needing a boost, a little pep in their step. So I book it and I look it up, and it's Gulf Coast State College in Panama City, Florida, August of 2019. October 6th of 2018, Hurricane Michael, the first Category 5 hurricane to hit the coast. And it was a Category 1 like 16 hours prior to it hitting the coast. It picked up all this momentum, devastated the school. I mean, they have 54 buildings and 53 sustained damage. When I went there in August of 2019, 10 months later, there was still a 40-foot sailboat inland on a field that the owner still hadn't come and retrieved, that had washed up ashore. They did amazing things. They lost 3 faculty members in the first 48 hours while they were clearing debris. The staff, the entire staff, took a role in the facility management of this campus, cleaning it up, getting the space ready. The music director and the person that coordinates all the plays was cleaning their stage so that they could give open air, because part of the roof was missing, plays. And so I found all this stuff out, and I went and talked to them. I gave them one of my friend Chris Mills' Shoveltown flags, how to make an American flag that said Gulf Coast State College strong, and just an amazing group of people. And what happened was, I didn't know this was happening. I got done, and Dr. John Holdak, who is the head of the school there, went up after me. And he said, "It's a special day today." And what he did was he went to the board of trustees, and he he told the entire faculty and staff, so everybody that was employed, even if they left on October 6th of 2018, that they were to receive the Distinguished Service Award. This has only been given out 6 times throughout the college's 62-year history, and it was given out to an individual those previous times. So the entire faculty and staff of Gulf Coast State College stepped up, did an amazing job, got the campus back online, and they gave that community, Panama City Beach, hope. They put on their plays. Their women's basketball team won the national championship that year, but they all picked up and cleaned up and did their part. And I just thought that was really cool. And I think with everything that's going on in the world today and how people are stepping up and stepping into roles that they normally wouldn't do, I thought it would be good to recognize Gulf Coast State College. So that's our recognize. I haven't talked to Dr. Holdnack in a couple of years. I hope if anybody's listening from Gulf Coast State College or has a connection, you realize how special that entire community is, and how special really every community is. We just got to look for it, like we often say. So we're not going to be on this Friday, partly because my co-host can't make it, and I'm not coming on without him. He's with me.
I'm going to be away on vacation.
I mean, a non-paid co-host position on a podcast should have to put in 2 weeks notice for vacation.
Yeah, or even
That's
if
right.
I'm thinking about starting a Be Awesome union. That's what I think I'm doing.
Wait till you see my union rep. She's just on the other side of this screen.
So, please say hello to her, and I hope the chili was good last week. I'm sure it was. So, but no, that'll do it for us here. We're going to head back. I got to get Greg back over to the conference and myself. But thank you, everybody that's listening, that's commenting, that's giving 5-star ratings and reviews. You get a t-shirt, coffee mug, or tumbler, whatever you want. Just send me an email. If we're doing a great job, please share it with the world. If we're not, send me an email, josh@beawesome. That's BEAUSM.com. Otherwise, we're going to be back next week with another awesome guest. And send us what you want to talk about. We'll do it. That's why we want to do these live, so that we can get some feedback and input. So in the meantime, if it can be anything, be awesome.
Bye, everyone.